All right, so 1, 2, 3, 4. So this is at -8 here. So this is like at -8, -6. And then you had a dot here. So that, thought you had a dot here. And a dot right here, which is at like -8, -3. Hey. See ya. All right, so the first one, we want the limit as x goes to -8 from the negative side. Okay, so that means this negative right up here on the top right, the exponent negative, means that I'm coming from the left and I'm getting it right here. So that's going to be an answer of -6. And I think I told you something wrong yesterday, and I apologize, so I'm going to try and correct it today with your forgiveness. And then we want the one that is a limit as x approaches -8 from the positive side. So this positive here, the positive exponent, means I'm going to come this way, and I'm also going to get to, you can see it. I'm also going to get to -6, okay? Because they end at the same location. And then number 3 is just like number 1, so that's the same answer. But then I want to make sure we feel comfortable where it says f at -8. Okay, when you see this, it has to be a point. It has to be a point. Okay? So the function at -8. So at -8, which is back here, I have to come down and find where I have a point. So this answer is going to be -3. Okay? Now, I think that the problem number 3, I think that it was supposed to be this, where I don't have an exponent. Okay? Which means, if that was what number 3 was, truly it was supposed to be, that means if I'm coming from both sides and get to the point, I think where I made my error yesterday, if I come to the same point from both sides, then my limit will be just what this is right here. So that has to be at -6. I think yesterday I told you it was the dot, and I apologize. I made a mistake. Okay, can I erase these down here and keep the graph? Is that all right? So a couple things I want to go over. I want to focus on the point or 2 different locations. Okay. So we'll start with this one. This is at the point 6, 5. And this is at the point 6, 2. Okay, so if they asked us if the limit approaches 6 from the left and the limit approaches, come on, catch up with me. It's freezing up. There we go. Oh, there we go. All right, so I'll do this by hand. So if I'm approaching 6 from the negative side, that means I'm coming from the left to get to here. So as the limit approaches 6 from the negative side, this limit is 2. As the limit, if this was 6 raised to the positive, that means I'm coming from this way, and the limit gets to 5. Okay, does that make sense? So depending upon which way I come, so if it tells me I'm bounding my limit coming from the left side, it's going to get to 1 y value. If I come from the right side, it gets to another one. So if I said, what is the limit as x approaches 6 from both sides, and it comes both ways, being that I have 2 separate y answers, that means the limit doesn't exist. So if you're bound saying, hey, I'm coming from the left, that's great, I get to one answer. If I'm coming from the right, I get to another answer. If I'm just saying, what is the limit as it come from both sides, then there only could be no solution for an answer. But if this problem, and I don't know if it did, but if it said, what is f at 6, so f parentheses 6, f parentheses 6 has to be the point not this. So f parentheses 6 exists at this point at 5. It does not exist here. So a couple of things just to know that if you have a limit, things might take place. Now, if you think about this point here in the middle, where we have the line that's going up to infinity, our limit exists here at this point to whatever this y value. If I say what's the limit at this point, this line goes to infinity. So that means I have one limit that goes to infinity, one limit that stops at a point. What is the limit exactly where this would take place if I came from the left and right? It doesn't exist because it went to two locations. So if it tells you direction, watch out for direction because it might end at two different locations to go with. So friends, I think, oh, and then I think this is at the point, I think this is at -2 in the x direction. So if it says what is f at -2, it has to be whatever this point is. It's not the infinity. Okay? So I think that should help you with that. And I think, what do we say? Let's do this. I have to tape it. I think you can do limits. So finish. Make sure that page is done. I think I kind of walked through them. And then 4.1, just the top. Top 12 problems. 9 problems. I think it's just problem number 1. Which is 9 problems. I like the little blip one. And that's all I have for you. And then tomorrow is Friday. We're going to learn about credit cards. And I'm going to, the reason I go with the real life math is 1, we don't have enough content, but 2, I like knowing all of my options before I make a decision. That's how I run through life. So I would like you guys to start thinking about how that would take place, because if someone says, you have to do this, it's like, well, it's my option. That's your only option? Come on, there's other options. So go ahead and work on that limits 4.1, 9 problems. I'll go over those on Monday, I guess.